Information is power, I guess, unless all of your information is geared towards you thinking that everything is about you. No, not everyone is ever thinking about one person all the time at any point. It's just like, if your algorithm is giving you criticisms of yourself or adulation or praise, you're creating an ecosystem in which you're the centerpiece of the table, and I just don't think that's healthy. Like, that's not the way I want to move through the world.
Taylor Swift just did something no one thought she would ever do. She finally stepped into the podcast world. For years, Taylor has been the queen of mystery, letting her music and carefully staged appearances do the talking. She's avoided long-form, unscripted conversations, and it's easy to see why. When you're one of the most scrutinized celebrities on the planet, every word can become a headline. But this week, that silence shattered. Taylor made her podcast debut, not on a glossy Hollywood show or a polished media outlet, but on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce's podcast, with his brother Jason. Instantly, fans knew this wasn't just going to be about love stories and football talk, it was going to be a cultural moment. The timing couldn't be more perfect. With a brand new album dropping on October 3rd, Taylor used the podcast as her stage to tease what's coming. For Swifties, the date itself is another signature Easter egg. October 3rd, add 10 and 3, and you get her lucky number 13. Even more curious, it falls just 2 days before Travis's birthday, making the release feel personal, intentional, and symbolic. And from there, the conversation only got juicier.
Everybody knows if they say one thing, but all of a sudden if they put Taylor Swift attached to it, it's going to get 1,000 more retweets and likes and hate comments or love comments or whatever. It's going to stir up tons of controversy.
Totally. Not everyone is ever thinking about one person all the time at any point. It's just like, if your algorithm is giving you either criticisms of yourself or adulation or praise, you're creating an ecosystem in which you're the centerpiece of the table, and I just don't think that's healthy. Like, that's not the way I want to move through the world. So I do detach from the internet in a huge way.
For Taylor, stepping into the world of podcasts was more than just casual small talk. It was a calculated move, one that immediately stirred headlines and speculation. On the podcast, she opened up about her upcoming album, which she revealed was largely crafted during her record-shattering Eras tour. Fans already know Taylor's tours aren't just concerts, they're cultural events layered with symbols, clues, and hidden meanings. So when she said the new record was written in the middle of that whirlwind, ears perked up. What exactly was she channeling during those months on stage in front of millions? The rollout itself screamed, "Classic Swift." She didn't just announce an album, she dropped puzzle pieces for her fans to decode. Beyond the October 3rd release date, which ties back to her beloved number 13, Taylor teased that this collection of songs wouldn't be sprawling like her double albums of the past. Instead, it would be sharp, focused, and filled with energy. Travis Kelce, never one to hold back, called the tracks straight bangers, describing them as upbeat and pure pop. But what made jaws drop wasn't just the music itself, it was the titles on the track list, titles that immediately sent fans into full-on theory mode.
Last night, Taylor Swift made her podcast debut, revealing details about her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. But she also seemingly shaded Blake Lively.
When Taylor revealed the track list, it was like throwing gasoline on an already roaring fire. Every title seemed loaded with double meanings, and fans immediately started dissecting the possible targets. One song, Ruin the Friendship, stood out instantly. Was this a cryptic reference to a relationship that turned sour? Maybe even a nod to a falling out with Blake Lively? Some argued it could just as easily describe a romance born from friendship that collapsed under its own weight. But with Taylor, the ambiguity is the point. Another track, Cancelled, spelled out in full caps, sparked even louder chatter. Considering Donald Trump's habit of ranting in all caps on Truth Social while mocking Taylor's looks and relevance, it didn't take long before people assumed this was her way of clapping back. Then there's The Fate of Oilia, a title that hardcore fans instantly linked to Blake Lively's character in the 2012 movie Savages. That connection alone sent the fandom spiraling, with theories that Taylor might be weaving Blake's name into her lyrics without directly calling her out. Other titles like Wishlist and Life of a Showgirl, the latter featuring Sabrina Carpenter, were equally suspicious, especially given Sabrina's ties to Wayfair, a brand recently entangled in Blake's controversies.
Friendship, which I talked about, track number 6, is obviously, it makes so much sense that is about Blake Lively, because if it wasn't, why would she have a song with that name, knowing that everyone would speculate that it is about Blake Lively? And the song is called Ruin the Friendship, and that friendship is what everyone kept talking about for the last year.
The Blake Lively connection is what truly set the internet ablaze. For months, rumors have swirled about tension between the two women, and Blake's ongoing legal battles have only added fuel to the fire. Fans couldn't help but notice the uncanny timing. Taylor's album was supposedly written while she was on the Eras tour, yet some songs line up perfectly with the controversy surrounding Blake. The title The Fate of Oilia was the first breadcrumb, but many are convinced Ruin the Friendship is the real smoking gun. Taylor has a long history of pouring feuds into her lyrics.
And now people are saying that's so obvious that's about Blake because her name in Savages, the movie, was Ophelia. And there are some interesting factors that makes this kind of interesting. So in Hamlet's Ophelia dies when she's gathering flowers.
From public fallouts with Katy Perry to subtle digs at Kim Kardashian, so it wouldn't be out of character for her to lace her music with pointed messages. The lawsuit against Wayfair and the online chaos that followed created the perfect storm for speculation. During that same period, Taylor's name was dragged into headlines she had nothing to do with. Gossip blogs and critics alike slapped her name onto Blake's controversies for easy clicks, something Taylor herself addressed indirectly on the podcast. She didn't say Blake's name, but she didn't need to. The subtext was clear. Not every story, and certainly not every scandal, is about her. While the Blake Lively theories dominated fan chatter, another track on Taylor's album lit up an entirely different corner of the internet. Cancelled, written in full caps. For Swifties, the styling wasn't random. It looked like a deliberate mirror of Donald Trump's unhinged social media posts. Over the past few years, Trump has taken repeated shots at Taylor on Truth Social, mocking her appearance, her politics, and even her cultural relevance, often typing in angry capital letters. With Cancelled, fans believe Taylor is finally responding in the only way she knows how, through music. This wouldn't be the first time Taylor blurred the line between personal life and politics. She's spoken publicly about women's rights, LGBTQ+ equality, and voter registration. A full-throated musical jab at Trump would mark yet another evolution in her public persona, signaling she's no longer content to just drop Easter eggs about breakups and friendships. She's ready to confront the culture wars head-on. And what better way to do it than in a track that doubles as a commentary on internet culture itself? After all, the word cancel doesn't just apply to politics, it's a badge of survival in today's celebrity landscape. For Taylor, it may be both. Beyond the music, what really caught attention was Taylor's candid reflection on social media and the toxicity of online validation. On the podcast, she explained how dangerous it is to live in a constant feedback loop of praise and criticism, calling it an ecosystem where you make yourself the centerpiece of the table. For her, detaching from that noise is essential for survival. Fans immediately connected this to the ongoing behavior of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, who have been accused of feeding off adoration and spiraling whenever the narrative turns negative. Ryan himself has admitted that outside validation feels like a drug, and Blake's lawsuit seems driven by a refusal to let go of the bad press. Taylor's words weren't delivered as direct shade, but they didn't need to be. Her point was sharp. Obsessing over what people say about you online only makes things worse. She contrasted herself with friends who spiral after reading one bad comment, letting it ruin their entire day. To Taylor, that cycle is unhealthy, and she refuses to live trapped in it. The implication for Blake was obvious. Stop amplifying negativity. Stop clinging to victimhood and move on before it consumes you. One of the most telling moments came when Jason Kelce chimed in, pointing out how Taylor's name gets thrown into any headline for clicks. "Everyone knows," he said, "if they attach Taylor Swift to something, it instantly blows up with likes, retweets, love, and hate." Taylor nodded knowingly, using the chance to push back against the idea that she's tied to every scandal her name gets dragged into. Without ever naming Blake, she made it clear that the controversy swirling around her lawsuit was not hers to own. She wasn't part of Blake's film. She wasn't behind the PR mess. She was on tour, writing songs, and living her own life. For fans who've been following the timing, the overlap was impossible to ignore. Blake's lawsuit landed just as Taylor wrapped her global Eras tour, and almost immediately, gossip blogs started lumping Taylor's name into coverage that had nothing to do with her. On the podcast, she framed it as a lesson in perspective. Just because the internet keeps talking about you doesn't mean the world revolves around you. It was her subtle way of drawing a line in the sand, removing herself from Blake's narrative while highlighting how damaging that self-obsession can be. As the podcast wrapped, Taylor left fans buzzing with more questions than answers. She didn't explicitly name Blake Lively, Donald Trump, or anyone else, but her words and her track list seemed carefully designed to spark debate. And if history has taught us anything, it's that Taylor never dodges drama in her art. She repackages it, reclaims it, and makes it unforgettable. That's why Swifties are already bracing for impact. Could Ruin the Friendship be the next great diss track? Could Cancelled solidify her as a pop star willing to wade into political firestorms? Or are we all just pawns in her never-ending game of Easter eggs and hidden puzzles? What makes this moment so powerful is the timing. Taylor is at the peak of her influence, Blake is embroiled in lawsuits, and Travis Kelce has brought her into a brand new spotlight with a fan base that never cared about pop music until now. Everything is colliding at once: music, gossip, politics, and celebrity culture. Taylor has given just enough to keep everyone talking, but not enough to confirm anything. And that's her genius. The only real way to get answers will be on October 3rd, when the album finally drops.